at the outset, I would request our Regional Director, Dr. Mamta Bhatia ma'am, to welcome all the guests and give a brief about the webinar. Ma'am, please.
Namaskar, all of you. Today's expert, Dr. Ranjita Soni. I heartily welcome you, ma'am. And it's indeed a great pleasure for us to
Thank you so
have
much,
you
ma'am.
amongst us. I can see my colleague, Director AMPC, Prasad sir. Namaskar, sir. And all various coordinators of the different study centers. We have our learners with us. We also have regional directors from across the regional centers throughout the country. It's welcome to all of you. Ma'am, to make our Earth a better place to live in and to combat these threats of being faced by our environment, as we all know, the Government of India has launched a massive campaign, the special campaign 2.0 on Swachhata, and IGNOU is also conducting this campaign in the different blocks of the university in the headquarters and also across all the regional centers throughout the country. And the focus is on optimizing the office space management and to enhance the workplace experience in the offices of IGNOU. So we are making a lot of efforts for this, and the Swachhata pledge has been taken by the employees throughout the country. And at each regional center, we are working towards creating more and more awareness that how can we make this a better place to live for us and for our future generations. So, in this regard, we would like to hear from you. And also, I know that the also, I would like to invite you to uh, put forth your views and then we can have a discussion amongst us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Before I request Professor Ranjita Soni ma'am to start her uh, talk, I would just like to give a brief about her. Dr. Ranjita Soni ma'am is working as a professor and dean student welfare at Jagannath University, Jaipur. She has a teaching experience of 17 years in the field of environmental sciences, and her CV is long. I'll just read it briefly. She has published 2 books, 4 book chapters, and 14 research papers in different Indian national and international journals. So, ma'am, I request you to please start with the presentation.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to give my thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor of IGNOU, Director of Center Dr. UC Pandey, Senior Regional Director Dr. Mamta Bhatia ma'am, Dr. Indu Ravi ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, and all of you, to invite me as a chief speaker for the webinar theme on Swachhata Pakhwada, which is initiated by the Government of India under Swachh Bharat Mission. So, welcome to all the participants, all faculty members, staff members who joined this webinar. As we know, about the Swachhata Pakhwada and the various type of cleanliness activities. So it is all concerned about the various type of solid waste, because we have to manage all kind of solid waste which will be basically generated from the different sources. So when we talk about,
You're audible, ma'am.
yes ma'am, I'm just sharing my screen.
Okay.
So, before the starting of any kind of waste management, I want to tell about the solid waste. Basically, solid waste is a unwanted or useless material. Is also known as, it may be include like some part of rubbish, trash, refuse, and garbage. And basically, all the waste may be generated from the domestic sources, the various type of industries, various type of official and commercial resources. So we can say any material which can be a part of unusable or unused, or it is rejected as a worthless or unwanted. So from the various type of activities, we're using or expanding or consuming thoughtlessly or carefully the waste which known as solid waste. Now when we talk about the basic classification, as per the solid waste we can just define as per their decomposition. So it may be categorized biodegradable and non-biodegradable in the category. So biodegradable means which can be decomposed easily. Like if we produce any kind of waste from our domestic sources, in the kitchen waste, some garbage or rubbish waste, or some paper, wood, fruit, peels, etc. So basically all the type of waste are known as degradable, because which can be decomposed easily. But some waste which can produced from the various type of sources, like from industries and from offices and commercial areas, so it cannot be degraded easily, like plastics, bottles, machineries, metal cans, containers, and others. When we talk their generations, like which type of waste can be produced from the different sources. So in the first category, the waste is usually produced from the household areas. And as we know, we can produce a lot of amount of waste from our houses area. Like we can use in kitchen fruit peels, waste product from the food materials, and paper, polythenes, plastic, and the packaging materials. So these all are related with the household waste. Now the another category of waste which is known as municipal waste. So basically we can categorize this waste from our household area, specifically the waste which released from the bathroom areas or toilet waste. Now we can separate from the basically collection from the sewer lines, but those areas which are not set up with the help of sewer lines, so they may be very unhygienic, and their management is very usually we cannot manage by the open areas. So health hazardous we can say, because they may uh, generate various kinds of diseases. Like another category of waste which is known as industrial waste, so they may produce a lot of type of industries, like chemical industries, textile industries, distillery industries, so many kind of industries. Like nowadays we are knowing just well know about the type of uh, e-waste. So basically this e-waste which known as electronic waste. So आज के टाइम में जैसा हम समझ रहे हैं, बहुत सारा वेस्ट जो है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया से और इनसे प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है, लाइक कोई केबल्स हैं पुराने मोबाइल फोन से, एंड सीडीज, फ्लॉपी डिस्क और कंप्यूटर से रिलेटेड बहुत सारा ऐसा वेस्ट है जो कि ई वेस्ट फॉर्म में वी आर डिस्कार्डिंग नाउ डेज. Now, the another category of waste which is known as biomedical waste, and this waste usually produced from the medical institutions, hospitals, diagnostic centers, and some parts like cotton gauges, bandits also we can release from our household areas also. Now, another category which is known as hazardous waste. Usually, it is produced from the commercial areas or industries, and some part of this waste we can also produce from our household areas. Like if we are using the mosquito replicants and some other chemicals for the mosquito killers, so they may be a part of hazardous waste. Then agricultural waste. Usually agricultural waste can be decomposed, but some part including like insecticides, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, so which may basically produce in form of harmful or toxic in the category. And some part like construction waste, so in this category demolitions and destruction waste we can also include, like debris of the waste material. So in this picture we can see easily the various type of, now we can see a part of in this picture e-waste are basically producing, and a lot of waste which are producing from the agriculture areas and industrial areas. Now, when we talk about the waste management, so basically there are various type of paths where we can the manage or handle the solid waste. But the first step after the generation of waste, we have to collect the waste. So we can adopt various type of collection methods. So the first collection method, which is related with the community storage point. So basically, in this method, we can put our waste, generated waste, in the fixed storage bins. And usually, the waste collection agencies collect this waste on the daily basis with the help of collection vehicles. So different communities may collect their daily generated waste in their fixed bins. Now, another method, which is known as curbside collection method. This collection method basically belongs to the different waste segregation methods. Like if we are using the different color codes or colored buckets or baskets for the collection of methods. So आप सबको पता होगा कि आजकल हम डिफरेंट वेस्ट कलेक्शन बैग्स और बकेट्स यूज करते हैं. मैक्सिमम आप में से यूज भी करते होंगे. लाइक ड्राई वेस्ट और वेट वेस्ट के लिए हम कलर कोडिंग के बेसिस पे वेस्ट को कलेक्ट करते हैं. लाइक गीला वेस्ट है या सूखा है तो उसको हम डिफरेंट कलर्स, ग्रीन एंड ब्लू कलर्स के बेसिस पे scrutiny करते हैं, segregation करते हैं. So this is a part of collection method. But when we talk about the biomedical waste, so the most popular method for the collection of biomedical or hospital waste by this method, curbside collection, because in this method we can just put all the waste in different colored coding bags, and basically they are large beans, colored bags, maybe open plastic bags, and they are basically specially designed for the purpose as per their segregation, as per their composition. And the waste collection agencies basically collect this waste from the daily basis from the hospitals or medical institutions. Now, another method which is known as block collection method. So usually this method is basically belongs to our houses or individual homes, जहाँ पर कि collection agencies daily अपनी जो गाड़ी लेकर आती है waste collection के लिए, they may collect the waste from the different individual units of the houses. So uh, you can put all your containers or your waste in the collection carts. So basically in containers or hands over to the collection staff, they may be emptied and return to your containers individually. So this is very common method in each communities or colonies nowadays. And when we talk their collections with the help of transportation system, so basically covered trucks and crews, they are important part of the collection system, because with the help of these trucks and crews we can collect all the community and colonies or individual house waste with this system. Now, this is basically a waste collection method which can be used in India. So, in the city municipalities areas where biodegradable waste, some glasses, poly bags, paper material, so we can collect all type of waste primarily in a single type of containers. But nowadays we can separate both type of waste, wet and dry. And all the dumps of the waste we can just put in the city outskirts, or we can say the dumping yards. Now local ready वालास और कबाड़ी वालास, which is also known as rag pickers, जो कि daily collection करके जाते हैं. यदि आपने कोई waste बाहर dump किया है, so they may be collect from the usual materials from your waste. Like they may collect some glass material, plastic bottles, some iron pieces, so, and if some papers also they may be used for the recycling purpose. So this is a very common method and common collection types in our India. Now, this is a common step of the waste management. So, this is a way of waste management. So, in this flowchart, we can understand how, after the generation of solid waste, we can reuse, recycle, or recovery method, or after the discarded. where we cannot be use any type of waste, so we can dispose by the different type of disposal methods. So the first thing after the generation of waste, we have to collect the waste by the collection methods as we have discussed earlier. Now, with the help of conveyance or transportation system, we have to put all the waste in our transfer stations. So basically, transfer station is a kind of dumping yard where we put all the type of collected waste from the city outskirts area. If the waste in any useful material, so we can separate or segregate the useful material for the recycling or reusable or recovery methods, which is also known as 3 R's. So we can segregate. After the segregation, we have to dispose all type of discarded waste which cannot be used further. So we can adopt the various type of disposal methods. So this is a overall kind of waste management system. Now, as we talked earlier, we can collect our dry and waste weight. So basically, the dry and wet waste collection, we can put the two color coding buckets. So we can use the green bucket for the basically wet waste, and it's clearly written here dry waste and wet waste. So we can segregate at our home, क्योंकि यूजुअली पहले हम एक कॉमन डस्टबिन यूज किया करते थे जहां हमने जो भी वेस्ट प्रोड्यूस हुआ है उसको एक सेम कॉमन डस्टबिन के अंदर डंप किया है. बट अभी सेग्रीगेशन करना हमारे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज वी हैव लॉट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजीज वेयर वी कैन रीयूज और रिसाइकल द वेस्ट इफ द रिक्वायर्ड. यदि हमें कंपोस्ट बनाना है सो वी कैन यूज द वेट वेस्ट फॉर मेकिंग द कंपोस्ट. सो वी हैव टू सेग्रीगेट एट द generation level. So in wet waste container we can put all the wet waste from our household, or we can say at the generation point. Now this is another picture which can be basically demonstrate easily by the method of curbside collection, and specifically which is very important for the biomedical waste management, where we can use 4 different colors of buckets and baskets for the segregation of different kinds of waste. Like in this picture you can say very clearly, like black color buckets basically used for the chemical waste collection. The yellow color buckets is for human and animal, or we can say anatomical waste, which are discarded from the operation theaters. Now, blue buckets is specifically designed for the solid or sharp, like cutters, blades, scalpels, syringes, needles, etc. And the red bag or basket, basically, this is a kind of collection of general waste, which is usually like plastic bottles, your drinking water bottles, tea or coffee cups, so polythenes. So you may put all these general waste in this red bucket. Now, as we have discussed about the transfer station, it is also known as a dumping yard. So this is a place where the receiving or refuse a number of small collection vehicles, and basically it is transferring by the larger vehicles from the different individual units or the block areas. When we talk the transfer stations, the utility and the importance, so it is very economical viable, the total cost of collection, transfer and disposal, because with the help of transfer station we can collect the useful material by the help of scrutiny method, and after the scrutiny or segregation we can dump or discard the waste by the using of various type of disposal methods. Now, the before to start the various type of treatment on disposal methods, we have to know the basic effects of solid waste. So, as we know, there are a lot of health hazards because they may generate the lot of health diseases uh, due to the contamination of solid waste. So, if solid waste are not collected, or they may not be allowed or accumulate properly, and they may create the basically unsanitary conditions. So, lot of kinds of epidemics may be produced due to their contamination, like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery. They are also a part of waterborne diseases, but they may be produced due to the contamination of solid waste also. This is a one case study which is relate with the epidemics in Gujarat, uh, very common disease plague due to the rodents, and the basic reason of solid waste in the open dumping area. Now, other diseases like jaundice or some gastrointestinal diseases may be spreaded in the human areas. So these are some bad effects. As we talk about the 3 R's philosophy for the reusable materials, so here reduction, reuse, and recycle, they are the main 3 R's philosophy. So this is very important for the overall waste management. So in the reduction, we have to follow some rules how we can reduce from our household area. So this is our moral duty and responsibility. We have to reduce the solid waste from our side. यदि हमने उसको कम प्रोड्यूस किया है तो हमें उसको मैनेज कम से कम करना होगा. सो ये हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है कि जब हम किसी वेस्ट को प्रोड्यूस करने जा रहे हैं तो हम उसको प्रोडक्शन पॉइंट पे, उसके जनरेशन पॉइंट पर ही उसको स्टॉप करें, थोड़ा कम करें. एटलीस्ट इफ यू आर यूजिंग वेरियस टाइप ऑफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर बॉटल्स, then cold drink cans, so we can use these type of things. And if we are using any kind of marketing products, like हम किसी मार्केट में जा रहे हैं शॉपिंग के लिए, सो वी कैन कैरी अ बैग विद आर, so we can stop to use the polythene from our side individually. After the generation of waste, we have to the first priority to reduction, after the reduction, to reuse the waste. So we have a lot of examples where we can reuse the solid waste. Like यदि आपने पेपर को यूज किया है, न्यूज़पेपर, आफ्टर रीडिंग फॉर द नेक्स्ट डे, we can reuse this newspaper for various type of packaging materials, various type of cleaning products, and nowadays we are using a paper mache products, so we can reuse these type of things. Similarly, we can use some plastic bottles and glass bottles and containers. We can reuse these type of containers and bottles. And the third one is recycling method. Now, recycling method basically eco-friendly for the raw materials, because it can reduce the overburden of, or we can say the overusing of raw materials. So we can save our plant and various type of raw materials by the adopting this method, recycling method. So paper, plastics, glass, metals, we can recycle if they're neat. Now, basically, as we talk about the reduction, so how we can reduce the waste from our side, like we can reduce the office paper waste. So one-sided paper we can use so that we can save the paper from our side. Improve product design to use less material. This is a one another method where we can reduce the waste. Redesigning packaging to eliminate excess materials while maintaining strength. And when we use some work with customer to design and implement a packaging return program, like कोई भी चीज़ें हमें सिर्फ उसको दिखाना है कि वो ब्यूटीफुली है, तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि हम उस पैकेजिंग को बार बार वेस्टेज करने के लिए जनरेट करें. वी कैन रीयूज द पैकेजिंग मटेरियल ऑल्सो, so it can eliminate the problem of lot of waste generation. Then switch to reusable transport containers, so we can again reduce the waste. Now if we are reusing like office furnitures, some supplies, and we can use envelopes, file folders, papers as reuse again and again till uh, they are required. We can use some durable towels, tablecloths, napkins, dishes, cups, and glasses. Basically, this method can reduce the overburden on raw material, and it can help to stop the single-use plastic also. Now use incoming packaging material for outgoing shipment. It can also be reused, and some encourage employees to reuse office material rather than purchase new ones. So this is a very good method where we can reduce a little bit amount from our side for reuse of the waste. If we want to manage the produced waste from our sites, so old books, this is very important for the all students. आप अपनी साइड से जो हेल्प करना चाहें अपने जूनियर्स के लिए, सो यू मे शेयर योर ओल्ड बुक्स, योर नोट्स टू शेयर योर जूनियर्स. सो उसका रीयूज भी होगा, यू मे डोनेट और यू मे एक्सचेंज. then you may again when another method like old clothes, so जिनको required है आप उनको ये donate कर सकते हैं. So it cannot be help to basically generate the lot of amount of solid waste from your side. ओल्ड कंप्यूटर्स यदि वो मेंटेन होने की कंडीशन में है या जिनको रिक्वायर्ड है, जिनको वो रीयूज कर सकते हैं, कहीं यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं, तो प्लीज़ आप उनको डोनेट कीजिए सो दैट they can reduce the overburden on e-waste. Excessive building materials which can be managed by the friends area, like friends area कि यदि कहीं पड़ोस में काम है और हमारे पास एक्स्ट्रा मटेरियल जो कि बिल्डिंग मटेरियल की रिक्वायरमेंट है, आप उनको दे दीजिए. उसके बदले में यदि आप कुछ उनसे अमाउंट लेना चाह रहे हैं तो यू कैन टेक सम अमाउंट्स, बट इट कैन हेल्प टू basically produce the lot of amounts due to the construction waste. And old equipments and basically you can use old equipments till then they can continue working or functioning with the help of local organizations, like some NGOs also work nowadays to donate or exchange purposes. Even though food also, कि आपके पास यदि फूड एक्स्ट्रा बचा है तो बजाय उसको फेंकने के आप डोनेट कर सकते हैं, जिनको रिक्वायरमेंट है, जो ज़रूरतमंद है उनको मिल सकता है वो. तो यू कैन कॉन्टैक्ट विद द लोकल NGOs फॉर द डोनेट और एक्सचेंज मेथड. नाउ office waste nowadays current basically source which can produce a lot of amount of solid waste from the commercial areas, because they may produced the basically papers, some food materials, plastic materials like coffee cups and tea cups, and general office waste. So, workplace basically waste is any kind of rubbish, usually dry waste, created in a workplace. And if the categories of this waste, as we talk, like paper, food, plastics, packaging materials, maybe drink bottles, cups, printer cartridges, tube lights, bulbs, and some other electronic goods. So basically, they all are, some are related with the e-waste and another type of e-waste category. So usually this type of waste may be produced from the official areas. So what we can do to reduce these type of office waste? So there are some methods so where we can adopt, like appoint waste champions. जैसा हम बेस्ट एम्प्लॉय अवार्ड्स करते हैं, यदि ऐसा ही हम अपने ऑफिशियल एरियाज में एक वेस्ट चैंपियन को हम डिफाइन कर दें, डिनोट कर दें, तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा मेथड होगा विच कैन बी इम्प्लीमेंट इन ईच एंड एवरी ऑफिस, और वो आपको अवेयर करेगा एवरी टाइम to reduce the waste from particularly cabin or office or particularly departments. Then regularly you can take a waste audit. So in your office premises you can make a audit team to know or monitor about the waste generation. You can start with our small wins. छोटे छोटे से appreciation awards we can manage in the official hours, official areas, premises. We can use the maximum work on paperless. So we can adopt the paperless work. Eliminate, we can use single use materials. So we can use our particularly cup and daily wash we can use. आप डेली जो भी अपना चाय या कॉफ़ी ऑफिस आवर्स में यूज़ करते हैं उसके लिए आप बजाय एक डिस्पोजेबल कप का यूज़ करें, उसकी बजाय आप अपना एक पर्टिकुलरली कप लाकर रखिए, उसको वॉश कीजिए और उसको रीयूज़ कीजिए. सो ये आपको हेल्प करेगा कि इस तरह का जो वेस्ट सिंगल यूज़ प्लास्टिक और डिस्पोजल वेस्ट है उसको हम कम प्रोड्यूस कर पाएंगे. नाउ फिल्टर्ड वाटर वी कैन प्रोवाइड. Now compost, we can prepare a compost for our gardening purpose. ऑफिस में जितने भी प्लांट्स हैं उनके लिए जो हमें कंपोस्ट चाहिए, वी कैन प्रिपेयर द कंपोस्ट फ्रॉम आवर ऑफिस प्रीमाइसेस. उसी में आप थोड़ा सा बना सकते हैं. बेसिकली यदि आपके पास एक सीलिंग एरिया है, ओपन एरिया है, छत है, तो वहाँ भी हम उसको रेडी कर सकते हैं. एंड those members which are associated with these type of eco-friendly works. So office administration may provide their incentive for their good works. So ये कुछ ऐसे methods हैं जिनको हम adopt कर सकते हैं. नाउ ई वेस्ट के बारे में जैसा मैंने बताया कि ये नाउ डेज एक बहुत चैलेंजिंग इशू है हमारे लिए कि हाउ वी मैनेज द ई वेस्ट, because nowadays we are producing a lot of type of your CDs, floppy disk का तो ज़माना निकल गया, बट सेल फोन्स और कंप्यूटर्स के बहुत सारे ऐसे पार्ट्स हैं जिनको हम डिस्कार्ड करते हैं. तो ये आज के टाइम में बहुत चैलेंजिंग है. एक पिक्चर में अभी हमने प्रीवियसली देखा कि कितना पूरा बल्क एक ढेर लगा था ई वेस्ट का. उसको मैनेज करना बहुत मुश्किल है, बिकॉज वी कैन नॉट बी बर्न, we cannot prepare the compost from the e-waste. So it is very toxic for our health wise. So some common e-waste disposal methods we can adapt. So usually यदि वो कहीं हमारे लिए reusable नहीं है, so we can adopt the landfill methods, and specifically the massive hole in the ground we can fill or put the waste, basically covering with the soil. So landfilling is a one method. Now another method where we can treat it with the help of some chemicals. So basically this is known as acid bath method. So in acid bath method we can add some chemicals to reduce the waste. Incineration, but incineration method is in closed chamber process, burning process, so we can burn, but little bit amount of toxic fumes may be generated in this method. So each and every time we cannot adapt this method for all type of e-waste. Recycling and reuse method can be adopted for the management of e-waste. After the reuse, recycle or recovery, we have to select any disposal method for discarded or dumping of the solid waste. मतलब जो वेस्ट अब हमारे लिए किसी काम का नहीं बचा है, हमने देख लिया कि ना तो वो रीयूजेबल है, ना हम उसको रिसाइकल कर पा रहे हैं, ना कोई उसका और यूज है हमारे लिए. तो अल्टीमेटली वी हैव टू डिस्पोज दिस काइंड ऑफ वेस्ट. So several methods we can adopt for the disposal of solid waste, and from a long time we are using these type of methods. So open dumping and ocean dumping, these are some common methods and very cheap and less expensive methods, but they are generate a lot of disadvantages due to their dumping. Some another methods like sanitary landfilling method, it is a scientific or technical method, so we can adopt this method. Incineration again is a part of burning method, and nowadays which is very popular, composting and vermicomposting method. So basically if we talk about the uses of these type of disposal method, so here sanitary landfilling is the main method which used are basically used in developed countries, and open dumping, it is very common in India, क्योंकि हमें जहाँ भी कहीं खाली जगह मिलती है हम उस वेस्ट को डंप कर देते हैं, बट वो कितना हार्मफुल है हमारे लिए, because it generates a lot of type of environmental and health issues. Because if we are using any kind of open burning by the generation of various type of waste in the open areas, so we can expose the lot of elements in form of health issues, basically generate lot of vectors, rodents and scavengers by the dumping of open areas. Here in this picture you can see the open dumping. Basically this is a kind of dumping yard, but जब आप किसी open area के अंदर dump करते हैं तो we can clearly think about कि कितना smell और कितने वहाँ पे flies और mosquitoes produce होंगे जो कि कितना health harmful है. We cannot wait, हम रुक नहीं सकते वहाँ बहुत short duration के लिए भी. Now when we talk their advantages and disadvantages, as we know open dumping is very cheap or inexpensive method, but when we talk their disadvantages, it is very health hazards, it damage air pollution क्योंकि बहुत foul smell वहाँ produce होगा, ग्राउंड वाटर एंड रन ऑफ पॉल्यूशन में भी कॉज, क्योंकि जहां भी कहीं लीचेट होकर जाएगा वो पानी के साथ बहकर जाएगा, सो इट मे कंटामिनेट आवर ग्राउंड वाटर. Then it also act as a breeding ground for insects or rodents, so it may produce health hazards. Like प्लेग वाला जो इशू है वो इसी तरह से प्रोड्यूस हुआ था, so it is very harmful, not visible for us. If we talk about the sanitary landfilling method, so basically this is a good method as comparative to open dumping and ocean dumping when we talk. So we can just use some machineries like bulldozers we can use for the preparation of low lying areas for filling the waste packets. Basically these packets are known as refuse cell. So in modern technology, basically landfill sites are basically away from the residential areas, and these low-lying areas after the sanitary landfilling we can use as a sports grounds, and they may not be generate the pollutions like groundwater contaminations and other type of pollutions like air pollutions, and they may not be produce health hazards like the breeding grounds of rodents and mosquitoes. So basically, we can see in the another picture this sanitary landfilling, where you can see the low-lying areas where we can put the solid packets, which is known as refuse cell. So each and every refuse cell basically covered with intermediate soil cover around 20 centimeters to 1 meter. When we cover up all the low-lying areas with the solid packets or cell, which prepared by the machineries. So these packets cover the low-lying areas. After the final packing of the solid waste, we can spread the final soil cover around 1 meter thick with insecticides and pesticides to stop the mosquitoes and rodents generation. So here in this picture, you can see compacted solid waste in form of cell. Before the setting of refuse cell or solid waste cell, we have to put a plastic sheet to stop the groundwater contamination. And different type of compostable waste, or we can say decomposable waste, we can put in the sanitary landfilling. But we can say this is a proper engineered way landfilling method. This is not a normal landfilling method because we have to put all the solid waste in form of packets or cell. Now, there are some advantages and disadvantages. If we talk their advantages, it is a simple and economical method, but a skilled, we can say skilled labor is not required here. Low-lying areas we can use or reclaimed by adding the solid waste in those areas. No residues or no byproduct is formed here because when we put all the solid waste, it will be completely disposed after the decomposition process. But some disadvantages are also associated here because when we put all the waste in form of packets also, foul smell may be produced in the at the landfill sites. Some needs of insecticides with the soil cover, final soil cover, to stop the rodents and mosquito generation. We have to large land area requirement for the filling of waste. Basically time to time maintenance also required in the landfill areas, and sometimes like methane gases after the after the anaerobic decomposition it may produce, so it may health hazard. If we talk the economical as comparative to open dumping, we have to say this is not economical as comparative to open dumping. Now, another method of waste disposal, which is also known as incineration or the burning process. So, it is totally basically burning process at high temperature and high pressure in the incinerator, or we can say furnace. The whole burning process basically completed in the incinerator or furnace in a closed chamber. So we can say there is no kind of generation of pollution like any air pollution or any kind of generation of health issues, but we have to need some electric power. And one more thing which is related with their advantages, we have to no requirement of any large land area to set up the incinerator. In this picture, you can see one man which are using an incinerator to burning the solid waste. Usually, biomedical waste or some toxic waste, which are harmful and which cannot be decomposed easily, we can use for the incineration process because we can burn here easily. But one more thing, where in this process, ash can be produced as a byproduct. जब भी आप वेस्ट को बर्न करेंगे, जलाएंगे, तो वहां पर एश फॉर्म में, राख के रूप में एक और आपको वेस्ट प्रोड्यूस होगा टू फर्दर यूज और यूटिलाइज. अदरवाइज तो आपने एक वेस्ट वॉल्यूम का यूज किया है, बट एक और वेस्ट हमने प्रोड्यूस कर दिया बर्निंग प्रोसेस से. तो वी हैव टू मेंटेन दिस वेस्ट. If we talk their advantages, as we talk, it requires minimum land area. It can operate in any weather. In rainy season, we can also operate the incinerator. It produces stable odor-free residues. So basically, ash which produced after the burning process, it is a stable odor-free. And this ash basically reduced by half. That means जितना waste हमने burning करने के लिए use किया है, उसका half, almost half जो है, वो ash form में हमारे लिए produce होगा. But when we talk their disadvantages, it is very expensive method, and because we have to skilled labor or person to operate the incinerator, and their installation or build up cost is higher. Various type of incinerator can be used as per the composition of waste. Here, high energy requirement, as we talk, requires skilled persons to continuously maintenance. Some part of the burning process we can just feel smell or waste or vermin in the burning areas or near the furnace areas. Now this is after the sanitary landfilling method. This is a good method, composting method, and it is totally aerobic method where we can produce a kind of manure. जहाँ पर कि एग्रीकल्चर वेस्ट या ऐसा किचन वेस्ट है, डोमेस्टिक वेस्ट है, विच कैन बी डीकम्पोज इजीली. So this method can be adopted for those type of composition of solid waste. So after the composting, we can get a byproduct which is known as compost or manure, and it is very good for the plants because it acts as a organic fertilizers. Here we can see the compost bed in this picture, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे वेस्ट को डिकम्पोज करने के लिए छोड़ा गया, कंपोस्ट बेड्स बनाए गए हैं, और करीब 1 से 1.5 महीने में कंपोस्ट प्रिपेयर होता है, और सिर्फ एक लैंड एरिया रिक्वायरमेंट और एक रेगुलर मॉनिटरिंग और मेंटेनेंस के बाद हमें एक फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मैन्योर यहाँ पे मिल सकता है. सो दिस इज वेरी गुड एंड अडॉप्टेबल मेथड्स इन आवर इंडिया. रूरल एरियाज में आज भी हम ये प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं. If we talk the another method which is some part of relates with the composting method, vermicomposting. So it is slight different with the compost method. यहाँ सिर्फ इतना सा डिफरेंस है कि हम अर्थवॉर्म्स को और यूज कर रहे हैं वेस्ट को मेन्योर में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए. एंड बेसिकली व्हेन वी कन्वर्ट द ऑर्गेनिक वेस्ट इन वर्मी कंपोस्ट, सो इट इज अ वेरी गुड न्यूट्रिएंट रिच फर्टिलाइजर और मैन्योर. It is healthy and clean way to eliminate the waste which are basically as comparative to other landfills, and we can say it improves the environment because it cannot be produce any kind of pollutants in the environment. It is a very cheap method, or we can say less expensive method, and within 2 to 3 months we can produce the vermicompost with the help of earthworms. So in this picture you can see the common species which are basically used is Ashnia fetida or Udrilus eugeni for making of vermicomposting. ये कंपोस्ट के अंदर ही आपको दिख रहा है जहां पर कि अर्थवॉर्म्स हैं, और बेसिकली ये उस वेस्ट को ही डीकम्पोज करके और कंपोस्ट प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं. तो यहाँ वेस्ट उनके लिए एक फूड मटेरियल है. Now this is a common method or steps where we can produce the vermicompost. Raw material which is a part of organic material which can be converted into vermicompost. So we can spread this waste in a open area within 1 or 2 days. if the moisture content, basically moisture content are less, so we can mix water content, so the whole preparation should be cooked up within 7 days. Then we have to we have to left over the waste for the partially decomposition with the help of microorganisms, or we can say a kind of aerobic decomposition. आपने उस वेस्ट को तब तक छोड़ दिया जब तक कि वेस्ट डीकम्पोज नहीं हो रहा है माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स की हेल्प से. Then we have to add the earthworms artificially, then inoculation of earthworms. So, like in the previous picture, some earthworm species which are very popular, Eschnia fetida or Udrilus eugeni, we have to put or inoculate in the waste for making the vermicompost. So, as per the climate and temperature, like if we talk about the summer seasons, within 1.5 and 2 months we can prepare the vermicompost. But in winter season it takes some time extra, so it may be produced around 3 months. So after the making of vermicompost, which is a dark brown color manure, so we have to separate the vermicompost and earthworms. Again, there are a lot of advantages of composting and vermicomposting. As we know, we are using a lot of chemical fertilizers, और उनके कितने नुकसान हैं, कितने harms हैं हमारी health के लिए. So if we compare the chemical fertilizers, composting and vermicomposting is very beneficial for our soil and for our health also. They make soil healthy with high nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, basically amount. Then it provides organic manure free from pollution. It eliminates flies and mosquitoes problem. It increases the soil fertility. So we can use this manure. No health hazard by this compost and vermicompost. It can also help to reduce the soil erosion and salinization problem in the land area. We can use the better groundwater recharge, and it doesn't create any kind of soil water or groundwater or any type of air pollution. And specifically for the rural areas, it can boost the economy. Some part of disadvantages, but they are not more as per their advantages. Like it is suitable only for the decomposing organic waste. That means we cannot adopt the technology for e-waste and other kind of like biomedical waste. Slightly slow process as comparative to like incineration or landfilling methods, and it requires more handling. So because we have to store the waste and time to time regular monitoring and checking, so handling is required here. So finally, from the study of various type of disposal methods, we can conclude in our India basically a huge population and the lack of awareness in the public and the society about the solid waste management. So still we have understand about it is a very big problem to manage the overall produced solid waste. That means solid waste management. And various type of solid waste disposal methods, as we know, their advantages and disadvantages also. So we can adopt the composition and vermicompost basically method, composting method for the waste disposal. And it is also part of our side. It is our responsibility. ये हमारी ड्यूटी है कि जो वेस्ट हम प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं एटलीस्ट हम उसको मिनिमाइज करें हमारे लेवल पे. जो प्रोड्यूस हो गया उसे तो हमें फाइनली मैनेज करना है, या तो रीयूज करना है या रिसाइकल करना है, आइदर डिस्पोज करना है. बट यदि हम उसको प्रोड्यूस होने से पहले ही कुछ लेवल पर मिनिमाइज कर पाए तो it will be very beneficial for overall solid waste management system. सिर्फ सेग्रीगेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी हम अपना थोड़ा सा हेल्प कर सकते हैं, सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं. लाइक हमने यदि गीले और सूखे वेस्ट को एक ही जगह डंप किया है तो इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मैनेज फ्रॉम द कलेक्शन एजेंसीज कि वो उनको सेपरेट करें. यदि हमने उनको सेपरेट करके ही दे दिया तो उनके लिए उसको मैनेज करना ईजी होगा. सो अवेयरनेस से ये जितनी भी हमारी टेक्नोलॉजीज हैं उनको अंडरस्टैंड करके और हमारी मोरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को यदि हम अडॉप्ट करें तो वी कैन मैनेज एटलीस्ट अ पार्ट ऑफ रिडक्शन लेवल हम उसको मैनेज कर सकते हैं. सो इट विल बी हेल्पफुल फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू. So, any participants or any student want to ask a question from me, so please you may ask.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Are there any queries we can take up one by one? Do the students have any queries or anyone else?
It was indeed wonderful, ma'am, listening to you, and I hope the participants have learned about the various methods, and awareness has been created amongst them for being more mindful while disposing of the waste. And as you said, that segregating the waste at our level would indeed be a useful step where we can put in our efforts, and at least when we dispose of, we should at least segregate and then dispose. Thank you, ma'am.
So, if there are no more queries, should we end the webinar, ma'am?
Yeah.
I would request Dr. Sher Singh, my colleague, to please give the formal vote of thanks, and then maybe we can have a group photo in the end. Sher Singh ji, please.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It is a great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion on behalf of IGNOU Region Center Jaipur. I would like to convey my sincere thanks to the Honorable Chief Speaker, Professor Ranjita Soni ma'am, Jagannath University Jaipur, for a lecture on solid waste management. Thanks a lot, ma'am, to explain about the meaning of solid waste management, types of solid waste, methods to reduce solid waste in the office as well as in the hospitals and other premises. What is the meaning of e-waste? So you have very explained in a very clear way, and how to dispose the e-waste, and what are the principles to manage the solid waste management. So, ma'am, definitely it will be very useful to all of us for proper management of solid waste. I also would like to convey my thanks to respected Sir Dr. K.D. Prasad ji, Director ENPC IGNOU, Senior Regional Director Dr. Mamta Bhatia ma'am, Regional Directors, Coordinators of Study Centers. I'm also thankful to all students, my colleague Dr. Indu Ravi, Dr. Ramurthy Meena, and Dr. Pawan Kumar. I'm very thankful to all for their remarkable presence and interaction. Thank you, ma'am.
I would request everyone to please on their videos, please. If we can have a photograph. सब वीडियो ऑन कर लीजिए. Okay, thank you everyone. And can we now just in the end stand up for the national anthem? Thank you. Girdhari ji, please.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्कल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you everyone for joining the webinar. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Welcome, ma'am.
पहले जो सवाल उसके वो मुझे देना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? ये